Now, I mentioned that Stephen Hawking rejects God because of gravity. Let's see how he does it. I gave you the central argument of the God delusion, which is a non-question. Here's the central argument of the grand design as I come to my conclusion. Hawking writes, because there is a law of gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Now, when I first read that, I thought, excuse me? Because there is a law of gravity, because there is something, the universe can and will create itself from nothing. Flat contradiction, number one. Number two, because there is a law of gravity. He doesn't say because gravity exists, and this opens a window into another confusion. What is the status of law? Does it create things? Well, of course not. I once asked another famous atheist in Oxford, Peter Atkins, professor of physical chemistry, what created the universe? And he said mathematics. And I'm afraid I was so surprised I started to laugh, which was very rude. And he said, why do you laugh? Well, I said, Peter, I am a mathematician, and I must be honest with you, that's the most stupid thing I've ever heard. He said, why? Well, I said, let me keep it simple. 1 + 1 = 2. Did that ever put €2 in your pocket? Just as a little aside, ladies and gentlemen, have you heard of the financial crisis? Do you know what caused that partially? Some people believed that doing mathematics could create money. But mathematics doesn't create anything, it describes. Newton's laws of motion will describe the movement of a billiard ball, a little bit anyway, but they won't cause the ball to move. People with a cue do that. And this is a huge confusion that the laws of nature are causes. They're not. They're descriptions of what is there. So a law of gravity is meaningless if gravity isn't already present. So that's problem number 2. And here comes problem number 3. The universe will create itself. Well, if I say X creates Y, what does that mean? It roughly means if you've got X, you'll get Y. And if I say X creates X, what does that mean? It means if you've got X, you'll get X. And what does that mean? Well, it means that nonsense remains nonsense even if scientists write it. This is the central argument of Hawking's book, Rejecting God. It's got 3 distinct levels of absurdity or self-contradiction in it. I find that very worrying. Now, don't misunderstand me, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Hawking I admire greatly as a mathematician and theoretical physicist. He's a genius. He was a little bit ahead of me in Cambridge, and he's light years ahead of me in his brain power. But I'm afraid in these statements, he is proving the truth of what Einstein wrote years ago. Outside his field, the scientist is a poor philosopher.